We're here at the Pinball Hall of Fame. It's one of the coolest signs I've ever seen because it looks like old Vegas. We're gonna take a quick walkthrough. Patty's with me.
Hi.
So let's go in and check it out. So here we go. This place is packed. I will say that. It is packed. And they have a lot of vintage games. Like this one. I have met the owner a few times. He's a very interesting guy. And he knows how to fix all this stuff. Now that is a really cool baseball game, I must say. Depending on where you get the ball, that the guy's running around. Oh. I guess that's an out. There's a lot of games in here that aren't working. But that's pinball. Dr. Dude, Party Zone, Ride a Pinball, and I have this game. Now, if you don't know, Guns N' Roses Pinball, there's a brand new one. And the brand new one just puts that one to waste. And if you want one, we actually sell games for Jersey Jack. So go to our website, stlouispinball.com. This is a game my son wants.
Not super. Yeah, it is wider.
South Park. He is the biggest South Park fan, I'll tell you. Man, this is a lot of self-redemption here. I used to have the nicest version of this game that you've ever seen. I sold it. Gauntlet. I love that game. Check all these games out. A lot of them aren't working. Dragon's Lair. That was that doesn't look like Dragon's Lair to me, but it says Jungle Hunt. Another game not working. Multiple games not working. It's hard to keep pinball working, honestly. These old ones, anyway. Asteroids. Who doesn't love that? That Star Wars game right there. That's a classic, I'll tell you. Centipede, Miss Pac-Man. This game is kind of like the last leg for pinball. This was designed by Pat Lawler, who just did Toy Story. And they were trying to do something different with pinball. So they came up with this idea of having, you have a lower play field and a play field in the back glass. Which I don't think is a bad thing. I think it's a great thing. I think they should do that more often. They should make the back glass do something. Why not? Why just look at an image like that? Why not do something? Wasted space when you really think about it. Waterworld? Well, this game is obviously broken. It's doing something weird. The funny thing about Waterworld is people think this movie was a bomb. It wasn't a bomb. It actually made a lot of money. It got a lot of bad publicity because at the time it was the highest budgeted movie ever made. So people just thought it was like that was crazy to spend that much money on a movie. The budget for Waterworld is nothing compared to what they spend on movies today. Waterworld was kind of groundbreaking in that sense. That it basically said in the future, this is what movies are going to cost. Whether they're bombs or hits. Creature in Black Lagoon, it's one of the first pinball games that I've ever had. Star Wars. Another Star Wars. Diner. Addams Family. That game is so basic. These old games, you know, they don't have, they had code. Look, there's another game not working. And none of these games work. Man, they got so many games in here, it's got to be really hard to keep them working. This game looks really cool. Slugfest, but it's before Slugfest. Here's another game just like Slugfest. Popeye's not working. Terminator 3's not working. X-Files not working. Circus Voltaire. Again, look at that awesome sign, and then you get something like this. It's so cheesy. Playboy not working. This is what they call a, golly, I'm trying to remember what they call it, but it's not a wide body, it's a super wide body. So it's big, it's gigantic. I mean, you could sleep on the damn thing. Very cool looking, if I must say. Here's another game not working. Another baseball game. Man, I don't know. Like, this is really cool. You play pinball against each other. It's kind of neat. This game is worth a lot of money if it wasn't all beat up. This game is also worth a lot of money. Tales from the Arabian Nights. It's one of the most collectible games out there. Man, that game, the artwork on this game is just amazing. This is another game, what they would call like a super wide body. Very cool. Champions Pub is a really cool game because this guy turns around and you box him. You see him over here. You actually box the guy. An arm wrestling game, so you can see how strong you are. It says only use one hand. This is a super rare thing they have here. You put money in it and it basically makes the toy for you. And he's got another one right here that makes Donald Duck. Bugs Bunny game. A lot of people like this game called Captain Fantastic, which is Elton John. Look at this. I don't think I've ever seen this. High score pool. Pretty wild. Fishtails, everybody knows that game. It's got a topper where the fish moves around. World Cup Soccer, Time Machine, Indianapolis 500, Apollo 13. It's actually a really detailed looking game. Shaquille O'Neal. No Fear, Space Shuttle. 3 more games in a row that don't work. That doesn't work. I don't know what it is, but it looks really cool. Man, I would love to play this. There's another game that doesn't work. Another game that doesn't work. And another game that doesn't work. Patty, you coming with me now? All right, come on. No, let's go. This game looks pretty cool. This is back when they used to make like really wild mechs. But here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row. 7, 8, 9, 10. A lot of the games just don't work. There's another one, not working. Not working. I love that artwork though, boy. That's wild artwork. They have a huge collection. So despite the oh my gosh, look at this. Now that is the craziest pinball game I've ever seen. Right there. The Flintstones, man. Wow. Look at the pinball it plays with. Pat, do you want to give this game a play?
Kind of do, yeah.
I want to watch you play it. Go get some quarters.
I have
I'll put it in. Let's see what it does. First off, we got to see if it actually works.
yes.
I would say it's 50-50. Put some quarters in.
I think you're not giving enough credit.
I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 games like just in this little section. No, 11 games just in this little section that are not working. There's another one not working. and another one not working. I'm gonna say that about 50% of the games in here are not working. This is a really cool game, by the way. It's one of the first times they've ever, or I think it was the first game ever, there's a TV screen up at the top and a piece of glass that kind of comes down. And it's a follow-up to Attack from Mars, which is a very popular game. And it's a very basic pinball game, actually. But the cool part is they tried to incorporate video technology to kind of give pinball another run. But it didn't work because pinball kind of faded away. But obviously pinball's back now. Let's see if Patty got this game working. Did you get this game working? All right, let's see. I just have to see this game in action because this is just, I've never seen this before. Here she goes.
Look at the ball.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God, right off the bat. Hey, something I noticed is the flipper backwards there? I don't know, it looks weird.
There we go.
The flippers look backwards, like that part should be out there.
Oh, it's a Bam Bam stick.
Okay.
It's got it's the Bam Bam stick.
Okay, just gotta plunge again.
Ah. It's hard to hit. It's very hard to hit.
I wouldn't say that this game is your forte.
I wouldn't say anything about it.
But it is very cool. There's no doubt about that. Well, it's also fairly basic. Patty has cradled the ball. I shouldn't even say ball, like the boulder. The boulder. She let it go through. What the heck? Alright, I would say it's time to move on. Oh no, one more plunge. Come on, keep the ball in play this time.
It's really hard because the ball's very lightweight. So it's really hard to like get it to shoot up.
Alright, are you ready to move on? Alright. There's a lot of, this game is really cool because it's got like a lower playing field. I think the most famous probably lower play field is that game or Haunted House. A bunch of old electrical mechanicals. Electrical mechanical means that the score on the game is like this. It's got like numbers and they physically turn over. There's Batman 66, Metallica, AC/DC, another game not working. There's two more over there not working. Monsters. This would be a premium. And there you go, there's Shrek. And it's got like a little miniature pinball game up top there. A little mini pinball machine. Which they did essentially the same thing at Monsters. Right there. Let's move on. Oh, Godzilla. This is a pro version. It's a very popular pinball game right there. Looks like you got more newer games here. Rush, Mandalorian, Funhouse. Which this one has been given the 2.0 kit, I'm guessing. Because it's got a screen in it and a screen down here. So this is what they're calling a 2.0. Very nice. Medieval Madness. Tennis, Jurassic Park Pro, Space Jam. And over here you have Aerosmith, another Creature from Black Lagoon, Monster Bash not working, another Revenge from Mars not working, 2 other games not working. Looks like their Elvira is not working. Avengers Kiss. These are a lot of Stern games. And this game here is the most rare pinball game in existence. They only made like 2 or 3 prototypes when Williams Bally or Midway gave up on pinball. So you play the game up. You're trying to move the ball up the playfield. Let's check it out. Awesome powers. It's a wild, wild design. So there's a sign up here talking about how Midway Bally Williams, 1 of 2 ever built. Here's the sign if you want to read it. And it talks about how he got the game. And it talks about the machine itself. Williams Bally never made another pinball machine apparently after making this game. I will tell you, there's a lot going on in this game for sure. Who knows how much that game is worth, but some serious pinball collector might pay $100,000 for that. Maybe it's worth $50,000. Nobody knows because nobody has one up for sale. Nobody knows what somebody's willing to pay. Over here we got The Hobbit from Jersey Jack, Cactus Canyon, which they just remade, and Thunderbirds, which some people consider the worst pinball game ever made. It's made by a company called Home Pin. I don't know who in the world ever thought we needed a Thunderbirds pinball game, but there it is. I don't know if it's the worst pinball game ever made, but certainly not the best, that's for sure.
Hey, what is this behind us?
I don't know. Over here you have Tron, Ripley's Believe It or Not. And this is a really cool game. It's like a Woody. All the rails, everything are wood. Very cool. This one looks completely brand new.
2015.
It's like a newer version of a Woody.
Yeah. But that one says 2015.
Yeah, made by Stern. But it looks just like a Woody. Very nice. Kudos to Stern for making that. Roller Coaster Tycoon, Theater of Magic. There's a Wizard of Oz. That's a highly collected game. And it looks like that is a X-Men limited edition. You can tell because the back glass is glass. And then it's powder coated. Stern only powder coats their limited edition games. Jersey Jack powder coats 2 different versions of their game, the collector and the limited edition. So yeah, this would be a limited edition. You can see the plaque right there. The X-Men, another game not working. Plus, it looks like it's being used for storage. That's interesting. Cubert's Quest, that must be from the 80s. I would imagine. Cubert was so big in the 80s. There's a lot of games here that don't work. There's another one that don't work. Now to be fair, and that's just an awful game right there. And there's another one that don't work. And here's a whole row that don't work. Another one that don't work, and another one don't work. See, I won't buy these games because these games are very hard to keep working. So I don't want to sound negative about all the games that don't work here, because they have so many. You would probably need 3 to 4 techs working at all time to keep them all working. That might not be financially feasible. I know they tried to get them all working, but I'm sure it's just a 24-hour-a-day job. And you have to give this guy credit. The money that he probably spent on this property and to build this building, all for pinball. But at the same time, as you can see, a lot of junk everywhere, and it's not themed at all. Like, it's just a big white box. The building's so big, you literally could put a deck on it, which is what I would have done. I would have decked half of it for birthday parties, maybe like a bar up there, like with pinball tournaments going on, just like poker tournaments go on every day. They could be, I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunity lost here. I think that's mainly because the guy that owns it he's just a pinball guy who wants to have all his pinballs on display. Me, on the other hand, I think this place should be more than it is. It should be themed, the walls should be painted. Would have been nice if it would have had black light carpet. And it really needs like an upper deck that looks down on the rest of the place. I think they're missing the boat for corporate parties by having alcohol, a bar. You know what would be cool in here? I build mini golfs. Upstairs you could have a pinball themed blacklight mini golf. And here's the game, Haunted House, with the cool lower playfield. But the point I was trying to make was when you have a sign out there that looks as cool as that, and then you have junk like this laying everywhere, I don't know, and a pinball machine stuffed with like clothes hampers and stuff like this just hanging out everywhere. I don't know. I don't think they should have made the whole place. They should have built that section up all the way up and even put industrial shelving back there so they could take these broken games off the floor and take them back there to repair rather than leave them out. Look at this, like boxes everywhere. It's just not. When you hear the word museum, pinball, Hall of Fame kind of thing, you want to see like banners all over the walls or something. I give them an A for effort, but it's really kind of a C. The only reason it's a C is because he does have a lot of games. I don't know. There's my assessment of the Pinball Museum. Maybe there's plans to do more here. He should give me a call. I'd be happy to help theme this place. But I do think he needs an upper deck, and I do think he needs to frame in a huge section of this place and take a lot of the games off the floor. It's not, you don't need to have this many games, especially if you can't keep them working. It just looks bad. Honestly, it looks really bad. But I can only imagine the kind of corporate parties, birthday parties, and everything else you could have here if you had areas to do them in. And even the retail, quite honestly, just doesn't look good. And they don't have good artwork on their shirts. When you look at Dirty Donnie, who makes like amazing artwork, I think they need some of that. Like I would have hired that guy or somebody, or maybe Christopher Franchi, to like make me some wild ass pinball museum artwork. You know, I seen another store where they had, what's that guy's name? The Fear and Loathing Las Vegas guy. They put his face on there with his pipe and in front of the Las Vegas sign and, you know, incorporate pinball. That would have been really cool for this place. But again, I just don't think this place is what you would call a polished product. But it's still cool. Anyway, so thanks for taking this visit with us to the Pinball Museum. I would definitely recommend it, especially if you wanted to play games and see pinball games that you've never seen before. And remember, these games are really expensive, so it's actually cheaper to put $1 in these games than to buy them and take them to your house and not be able to repair them if they don't, if they break. So come here to the Pinball Museum or go to your local establishment where you can play pinball. 50 cents for this game. But that's one of the highlights. Some of the games are 50 cents, some are 75, some are $1. But it's much cheaper to come here and play pinball than it would be to buy these games. As we finish up our tour here of the Pinball Museum, I find Patty playing a different Captain Fantastic game. And it looks like she's having... Is this game fun here, Patty? No? So Patty, I was going to give some... And I know a lot of hardcore pinball people would disagree with me. But what I do for a living is theming projects. I'm going to give a handful of suggestions to the Pinball Museum. Number one, they need to make a walled off area and probably get rid of 20% of all the pinballs in here because you can't keep them working anyway. And you have just an abundance of these kind. So, just my opinion, I would create a huge section over here for a repair shop because this just doesn't look good. Being able to see back there and see all this mess. You know, it's not about how many pinball games you have, it's about the presentation. And the presentation here just isn't very good. So I would put up a wall right here and make a, you know, storage and get real storage shelves. I mean, think about how high you can go with storage here. Another thing I would do is I would make a lounge area, probably like over in that area. And I would get a custom carpet printed with a pinball game in it. And I would have like signs on the walls, like professionally made signs, which is something that we could do. And it would tell you the history, the timeline of pinball. And you could have almost like it's a museum part. And it goes back to the infancy of pinball, which I know that he's got some of those games. And it just kind of sort of goes. And I would almost build a wall around it. So you go into it and then you theme the outside of it like a pinball machine. And you go in it and you just read the timeline of pinball, the history of pinball. And then it kind of comes all the way full circle to today. It talks about, you know, the new pinball companies and even like where you could buy pinballs or, you know, where you could learn more about pinballs, like different websites, podcasts, and so on and so forth. And that would be great. So yeah, you would get rid of more pinball machines because you'd have like a museum dedicated to the knowledge and the history of pinball. And that's something that the Pinball Museum should have, in my opinion, but it doesn't. And I wouldn't have any machines like this. They look gaudy. They need to build like in the center of this whole thing, like a really nice, you know, gift store with food and drinks, maybe. In my personal opinion, it'd be much easier just to do fountain soda. But another thing that I would do is I would contact some really nice artists and get a collector, Las Vegas style collector t-shirts and artwork made. Another suggestion I would make is to paint these walls. White walls, they don't look very good. You could even get canvases or wallpaper printed. You could get canvases printed and you put them up on the wall, and then those canvases could tell you the history of pinball. But that's like some of the things that this place is missing. And I also think, like, at the very least, even if there was just a section that was like a loft that you went up to it, they had couches and whatnot, and some really nice collectible pinball games with a bar, where you could host birthday parties, corporate parties. I really think it's missing that as well. You know, the lanes in between the pinballs on the main center aisle is pretty wide. I really do think by adding these things, that would really help. Now, I think too, like if you were trying to just make it like a really money-making thing, I think building like a pinball mini golf kind of experience, that would be kind of fun. You don't have to have this many games, but that's okay. Either way, these are some suggestions, but either way, the place is really cool. And I will tell you one thing before we go. This game right here reminds me of roller skating rinks. I wouldn't mind owning this game for my house. That's obviously a Corvette. That's a Camaro, I'm guessing. Anyway, very cool, very cool. All right, we are leaving the Pinball Museum. I want to make a couple observations. Patty's over here. Patty, what did you think of the place?
Same as I've always thought.
What?
Meh.
Meh?
The sign's cooler than the place.
Yeah. I'm not trying to be critical, and by the way, some people are like, what are you talking about putting a mini golf in there? What I'm talking about is, you know what I think they ought to do is they ought to charge an admission, like $19.95, right? Do you agree?
I don't know about $19.95. Gotta take it down a notch.
But if you had, it was like an experience. Everything in Las Vegas is an experience. There's no experience in there but seeing a bunch of games that don't work. And even the ones that were lit up, a lot of them don't work. And they have too many games. They can't keep them working. I think they should eliminate 30% of all the games, build a workshop, put the unworking games in there, and as they repair them, put them on the floor and remove ones that are no longer working. They need to build a storage area, which again would mean you would have less games. I get that, but it would be a lot better than having, 40% of your games not working and looking like, they'll never work again. And there was, like I said, one game where they had a clothes hamper in it. I mean, it's just crazy. I think they need to build kind of like a room that's like a pinball Hall of Fame. Wouldn't it be great if they put that circus game in there, right? Because it's like a 1 of 2, and they had like a Magic Girl in there, and they had like the Wizard of Oz in there because it's the first game that had like a full color screen and LEDs. And you had the first pinball game, and you had the first, blah, 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 all the way down the line. And you had tell the story of pinball. I think it would be much better. And it would be an experience where you come here, you may suck at pinball, but you learn about it. Definitely worth it. If you wanted to buy a game and you just wanted to see what it's like, this is definitely the place to check it out. But there we go. There's my review of the Pinball Hall of Fame here in Las Vegas. Until next time, like and subscribe to our page.
For scary videos and more, subscribe to our YouTube page, huntworld.com.